Hello, everyone. My name is Julianne Meyer, and I am the host of Own Your Wellness. Happy Thursday. Oh my goodness. I am so excited because COVID is kind of over-ish, shall we say, restrictions wise. I get to go to the OC Fair, and it's been years since I've done that. So after the show, you might catch me there if you're around. Anyway, enough about me. I have got an amazing guest today, and I'm so excited to bring her on because she is just a ball of positive goddess energy. So without further ado, let me introduce Ashley Holt. Hi, Ashley.
Hi. It's so nice to be here.
I'm so glad to have you on this show. I've been looking forward to this conversation for a little while now, and I've got to say that I haven't seen anything about you that hasn't made me excited for this conversation.
Well, wow, what a great intro. I'm honored, and it's just so wonderful to be connected to like-minded goddesses. It's amazing what a small world it really is.
It absolutely is. And you're in Nashville and I'm in Orange County. So it's kind of like, wow, we're already connecting through that wonderful thing called the internet.
Right? Or I was going to say called law of attraction, but either way, right?
Oh, bam, now you're really speaking my language. So for our guests, would you mind sharing a little bit about yourself and your own wellness journey?
Yes. Wow. I'll try to do that quickly, right? So I guess, on paper, I'm an author and motivational speaker and an empowerment coach. But I guess that the fun part about that is it was all done by accident because I had a almost 20-year career in sales and marketing. And this path was never on my radar. It just kind of fell into my lap once I went into my own healing journey. Mm-hmm. So with that being said, it really started, I guess, from a child. I had a very emotionally unavailable mom. Mm. And so my whole life, I grew up feeling I was always in the way. I was a problem. I was to be seen and not heard. And those are really my childhood memories. And so I grew up subconsciously or unintentionally attracting all of those kind of relationships into my life, right? So whether it be romantic or friendships or even in, corporately or career-wise, that is what was being mirrored back to me for so long. And then, you hit rock bottom and you get sick and tired of feeling sick and tired. And for me, that moment was being in a marriage where I was being demeaned and devalued every day. And me looking in the mirror and saying, I don't recognize this space anymore. Like, who is this person? This is not who I am. Yeah. And it was in that moment where, positive affirmations came into my life completely unexpectedly by a stranger. And, that whole process is, it can be a little silly, right? You're supposed to say these compliments to yourself, and then you're just supposed to say them to yourself. Then you look in the mirror, you say them while you're looking at yourself. It's very uncomfortable if you are in a place where you have no self-worth and no self-esteem and no confidence. But they worked, So after day, as they became a habit in my life, I was really questioning why this silly little practice was making such a big difference in my life. And I don't know if you know this or if positive affirmations even played a big part in who you are or where you've gotten today. But for me, I explicitly say they saved my life, literally. Because as I started to do this research, I realized that you could actually learn a language while you sleep at night. If you were to listen to a recording, did you know this?
I did.
Well, I'm going through this healing journey and these positive affirmations fall into my lap. I said, wow, what if I don't need to learn another language necessarily, but I really need some self-worth right now. Really. Amen. So what if I listen to those while I sleep? And I remember putting the headphones in my ears because, AirPods weren't available then. So I had my little headphones with the wire and my ex-husband being like, what are you doing? You're so stupid. And I'm like, something's got to work.
Yeah.
Something's got to work. But from day one, I woke up that next morning and I woke up a different person. And I thought, wow, I'm 37 at the time. I was 37 years old. Why am I just learning this? Why is it so powerful? And right now I know I'm about to make a huge transition in my life because I knew I was going to leave. I just didn't know how or when or exactly what that looks like. And I have these two little girls. And they're 8 and 5 right now, but I can guarantee you they are not going to be 37 and learn what I'm learning right now. They're going to learn right now. So with that being said, and this is a crazy story, but at the same time, I'm going through this journey and I'm listening to these affirmations while I sleep at night. I had a dream and it woke me up, and the dream was like this voice saying, write your bio.
Wow.
And I was in sales and marketing for 20 years. I'm like, what's a bio? I don't have a bio. I'm just in sales and marketing. I mean, it was corporate America. It was Fortune 500 company. I liked what I was doing. You know, that wasn't on my radar. And it shook me up so much. I woke up and wrote it down. So I'd remember in the morning that came to me.
I love it.
And, I mean, it's bizarre. And then literally that same week, someone reached out to me and said, hey, I'm writing a book about women and women's empowerment and just their stories. I feel led that you're supposed to write a chapter in this book.
Oh, wow.
What? And they're like, bio. I'm like, what? I mean, you can't make this up, right? So I always say, like, my next book is going to be, you can't make this up. And that's literally how it happened. So this wonderful woman asked me to write a story, and I did, just kind of about my childhood. And the next thing I knew, these affirmations were playing a bigger part in my life. And I thought, oh, well, now the divorce is happening and I'm worried about my children. So how can I keep them positive and okay and like create a really good environment while you're going through these things, right? And so my oldest was 8 and she was an amazing artist. She still is. But I thought, I'm going to do some affirmations and I'm going to turn them into a story. And she can draw some cute pictures and we'll bind them with ribbon and we'll just read it together as family time before she goes to bed. And that's literally what happened. And then somehow, some way, the next thing I know, it was with a publisher. It was in the bookstores. It's on Amazon. Then it became a series of 3. And these are children's books just filled with positive affirmations.
I love that.
Yeah, that's how it started. And then next thing I knew, she's in middle school, right? And I just started having these kind of nightmares for her. I think like I started remembering and having all these flashbacks of my self-worth just being diminished at that time. And so I thought, nope, that's not going to happen to her either right now. So again, I was like, my inner child was healing through this, but trying to help them. And so I wrote a book for middle school girls, and it's called Soul Strong Living, or I Am Brave, Soul Strong Living for Girls. And it's based on affirmations as well. And then I somehow started aligning with these nonprofit organizations for girls, and I would speak on the stages. And then afterwards, the moms would pull me down and they're like, thank you so much. Like, I needed that message. I know this book is for middle schoolers, but where were you when I was a teenager? And I'm like, I know, right? I needed it too. And I guess always in the back of my mind, I knew I was going to do something for women, but these were like my stepping stones to gain confidence or the journey along the way. And so when those moms started pulling me aside and saying that, I thought, okay, what's next?
Exactly.
And, I know this is a long answer, but it's all such a crazy story or journey for me. And so I ended up writing, after that, I spent 2 years writing another book that I never published. And it was actually called Shatterproof. But that book was the biggest emotional journey for me, because that's when I really dove into all my pain, my trauma, the deep, the dark, the bad, the ugly. And I was just pouring it out on paper. And, every day I was crying while I was writing, but you know what that was? I was healing.
Exactly.
And then it was done. And I spent so much time on it. And it came to the day where it was supposed to go out into the world. And I was like, no, can't do it. And I was so mad and frustrated with myself because I spent so much time and so many tears and so much pain came up. Why can't I do this right now? And it hit me. It was like, that was your part of your journey, but that's not your story. And it was like in that moment, I went from victim to victor. That's kind of a cliche statement, but at some point you let go of the pain and the trauma and you say, yeah, though that happened to me, but I'm so much more than that now. And I thought, well, what am I supposed to do with this? And I mean, that probably will never be published. But when I looked at that, I thought, okay, well, what is the story now? What is this story, Ashley? And I had to be like, what am I supposed to share? Like, what is it? And so when I looked back at all that pain, I thought, well, how did I get through it? And it was just like, ding, 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 ding. And it was goddess, it was like I had to discover the power within me, because my whole life, and especially for me, I'm in the deep South and everything is very in the box. And that healing journey for me was all about going outside the box. And that's a whole nother episode. But I had to go outside the box. But long story short, what I realized was my whole life, I had been spending everything saying everything's outside of me. Mm-hmm. If I have that, or if I accomplish this, or if I, have this approval, whatever, that means power. But that wasn't it at all. What I discovered during that 2 years of writing that Shatterproof was that my power was all within me, and it was just waiting for me to awaken it. And that is my inner superhero. And when you talk about, finding your inner superhero for women, it's kind of hard to relate to, because it's it could be assumed as a very masculine energy. So how do we connect to that divine, feminine, beautiful energy that lives within us as females and women, and connect to it? And how do I share that with the world? Because that's what it was about for me. I had no idea I had so much power within me. I had no idea.
It's like your very own Wizard of Oz.
Yes, it is. And I love the Wizard of Oz. I can watch it every day, all day. And I'm just like, oh my God, yes, it's that inner journey. And it's so hard to explain until you hit that point where you can't go anymore and you have no other direction to go then within. And so how can I make that easier for someone else? That they don't have to be 37. So my children can find their inner superhero, their inner goddess now at, now they're 14 and 10, but more importantly, age doesn't matter. Just how can I connect women to that? Because there is so much power within all of us that is untapped. And
absolutely. I love that so much. Sorry, for everybody who's watching, I might be itching my nose a little bit. There's something about the allergy, so I apologize in advance if you see me doing my thing. But no, I just love that you acknowledge that it doesn't, a lot of people look for their happiness outside of themselves, as you mentioned. So it's like, okay, once I get this amount of money in my bank account, then I'll feel better, or then I'll be happy. Or if I get this kind of relationship, then I'm going to be happy and I'll be set. It never works like that. It's like a carrot. There's always going to be something, and and it's always changing. So I love that you brought that up. And I know that you have a book, and I would love for you to share about that a little bit right now. As a matter of fact,
because I talked all about the one that I threw in the trash, right? So the one that was created from all of that totally was in alignment with what it was supposed to be. Was Goddess Wake Up. And then the subtitle is Claim Your Power, Recognize Your Highest Potential, and Live Your Best Life. And it's truly, so the word goddess is an acronym. So the word goddess is 7 key steps to the goddess mindset transformation. And it's really all about making it so easy for everyone to incorporate these 7 steps of the word goddess to make it a 28-day goddess mindset transformation. And what's so great is if you'll just do it for 28 days, because everyone knows 28 days makes a habit, but it's so much more than that. It really, when you do something with intention, and that we can talk more about that, it can change the neural pathways in your brain. And through all of this healing journey, I also became an EFT and NLP practitioner, which is emotional freedom technique and neuro-linguistic programming. So all of these things are kind of intertwined in the book. But after 28 days, you can repeat it every other 28 days, because you're always going to be growing and expanding. And that's what's so important. It's just like, if you give yourself the first 28 days, you're going to have enough knowledge and I call them goddess secrets to keep going. And every 28 days, just keep becoming more and more and more.
Yeah. I like to think of it as like giving yourself that chance, giving yourself a chance to be a goddess, giving yourself that opportunity.
Yes, give yourself 28 days. I promise you're going to be a goddess in 28 days. I promise.
I can't even tell you how many times I stopped myself because I was like, I want some sort of guarantee. And I was like, but I never tried.
Yeah. And that's so, I'm like 5 minutes for 28 days.
That's it.
5 minutes. How can I make that so easy? So it's like, even if you don't want to, if you can't read the book, I have a 5-minute daily goddess meditation. So listen to it on the way to work. Listen to it while you put on your makeup. Listen to it while you go to bed. If you do nothing else, but just 5 minutes, listen to this meditation, it's going to change you, because I know it does. I just know it does.
And how can people get a hold of that meditation? Is that through your YouTube?
Yes, it's on YouTube, and it's just called the 5-Minute Inspiration Goddess Meditation, and it's Ashley Holt, author, speaker, coach.
So people can find you.
Yeah. Do it. You'll love it. It's just going to connect you. It's so feminine. It's so beautiful. It's soft. It's going to remind you who you are, and just to connect to what you're here for. And
something that you mentioned before that I really want to touch on, because I just think it's really important, is, and I was talking about this recently on another show, and with the personal trainer, and we were talking about how, because I personal train too, and we were talking about how women will come to us and say, well, I don't want to look like a man. So they're afraid to, lift weights because they don't want to look like a man. And I was like, you know what, honey, you don't have the hormones for that. So you don't have to worry about it in the first place. You can exercise and not look like a man. But I love that you mentioned that divine feminine energy, because like you mentioned, a lot of people assume that power, or they equate it with masculine energy and manly, and women don't necessarily want to be masculine and manly. So I love it. You can actually show a way for women to incorporate and like accentuate their feminine energy. And you said it's only 5 minutes a day?
5 minutes a day. Like, if we can do this for 5 minutes a day, we can connect to our inner goddess for 5 minutes a day, right? We can do this.
That's true.
But I really love what you said about that masculine energy. And I think that's why it was so important to me. Well, one, growing up a child, and just my story that I was, unconsciously attracting into the world was I'm unlovable.
Yeah.
And so when it was just a few years ago, I was at home, and I was at my mom's house, and I was looking through some drawers, and I found a letter I had written when I was 12. And the first sentence says, "Dear Mom, I'm sorry I ruined your life."
Oh my gosh.
Right? And so at the time, my daughter was the same age, and I was like, my daughter will never write me this letter. What was really going on there? So it made me go, it was confirmation that what I was feeling was not an over-exaggeration or, identifying too much as a victim. Like, something really happened that made me believe that. Mm-hmm. And so then, I end up in the Fortune 500 world, and I was, being promoted, and this was early 2000s. And for this particular Fortune 500 company, the company probably had about 5% females, maybe even less. And I was promoted several times, and every time this backlash came on me, like, you're only promoted because you're a girl, you're a female, and they just need more women in the company. And that was hard, and so I was also, this is a funny story. It's not funny actually, but it's kind of funny. It's funny now. At the time, my entire life, I was always made fun of for my voice. And I would be in school, and I would have to go into the auditorium and like make announcements for the entire school. And I would be made fun of by high schoolers the entire day. It was a thing, it's funny now, right? But I remember being so ashamed of my voice.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So then I get hired. So when I say I'm a magnet for attracting these things into my life, I get hired with this Fortune 500 company. I was with them for over a decade. Every time I'd go into meeting, the higher up CEOs or managers would say, "Ashley, we want you to go home and you need to work on your voice. It's very unprofessional." And they would tell me to go home at night, and they would tell me to practice with a deeper toned voice like this to be so much more manly, and like I can't do that. And I mean, from this short time, I get very excited. I'm high energy, and this is me, right?
Mm-hmm.
And, what I wanted to say to them is, you know what? Maybe that's why people like to work with me. That's why I have been promoted, is because I am authentically myself and I have a genuineness, compassionate energy that's what they like about me. And if I were to change that, maybe I wouldn't be as successful. But I didn't have the nerve to say that then.
No, I'm sorry, but I find that a little, I don't like that. I really don't.
I know. I told you. My next book is
it bothers me. I mean, I can understand saying like your language, maybe the words that you choose are possibly unprofessional. If you're saying, dude, and
I was given exercises to go home and practice for talk like this for minutes a day. And how do you think? And so now I laugh because I speak on stages and I tell this story, and I'm like,
and then I think about Michael Jordan, who didn't make his high school basketball team. So,
yes.
You don't have to believe all the critics, I guess.
Yeah, because when I teach confidence and self-worth to girls and women, it's always two things. You're either too much of something or not enough. And guess what? For so many people, my voice was too high, or I was not enough this, or I didn't, whatever it is for everyone. Exactly. They've been told they're too much of something or they're not enough for something.
And something else that I've noticed with that too is a lot of times I got stuck into I'll turn into this person. And then it was something else that needed to change with me for them to be okay in their space. No, you need to work on you.
You just said it, for them to be okay.
Yeah, for them to be okay.
They need you to change for them to be okay. Mm-hmm. And that's the problem. And so, those words are like the red flag to me. If anyone says anymore, you're too much of this, or makes me feel like I'm not enough of this, it's not. It's their own projection, and it took a long time to learn that. But
well, you made it through, and I
made it through, and now I'm like. Mm-hmm.
So obviously, empowering women and young women is something that you're passionate about, and I just love that you have been able to, affect change at a younger age, so that people don't have to necessarily, women or young girls don't have to necessarily go through the same things that we went through when we were kids. I mean, I'll tell you mine. I was called a slut and a whore and all of these things. And I mean, at that point, and this was middle school, and I was so sheltered and so innocent that I didn't even think people had sex outside of marriage. I'd never even been kissed. I mean, it was like, and you're calling me these names, and it's just because I developed early. And that's the only reason why. Mm-hmm. But, oh my goodness, it's amazing. Like the bullying, I don't know that I would have made it had I, had the same sort of experience nowadays, with all the social media and everything else.
Oh my gosh. I can't even imagine. I can't imagine. And, I've seen, the first week of middle school for mine. And even when I'm teaching this, she was still coming home every day in tears. And, that my heart was breaking. But, the only thing I could do was try to incorporate affirmations for her, and what were those key lessons I wish I had known as a teenager.
Yeah.
And actually tapping, which is EFT. Are you familiar with EFT?
Oh yeah.
It is actually amazing for teenagers, because I can go into what it is, but basically it's an immediate relief for your thoughts. Like you can change this negative script in your mind to a positive outcome within seconds. And it doesn't matter how old you are, where you are, if you know how to do it. And it's a self-empowering tool. And it's basically considered, like psychological acupuncture, because you can just do it on yourself. And there's something so powerful about the human touch. And when we can realize like the points to access that and the thoughts to change the script within us. But more importantly, for teens, if they're going through body image or test anxiety or bullying, like all these things, I wish I had that tool when I was younger.
Me too. I just think about people who self-soothe or even, self-medicate or cut themselves, all these things. And, I love that tapping is a good way to connect your mind and your body. So you can easily change those neural pathways quickly.
Well, and you said it, like cutting is like the extreme of the negative side of that human touch that we need. So if we could teach our teens to channel that energy in a positive way through tapping versus cutting, oh my gosh, like that's what this is, the conversation's for.
Exactly. I definitely want to talk a little bit more about this, but we do have to go to commercial break.
Commercial.
I know, it's about that time. Thank you so much, Ashley. We'll be right back.
Thank you.
Oh, I don't even want to go to commercial. Oh, this is so much fun. I'm enjoying this conversation. I know you guys are too. And for those of you who are watching live, hello. Thank you for joining us. It's always a pleasure to have you. But as I mentioned, we do have to go to commercial. So without further ado, we'll be right back after these messages.
When drug or alcohol addiction take over, things begin to disappear. Your friends, your family, and eventually, you. Recommended by Dr. Phil, New Method Wellness can help get your life back with individualized treatment plans for dual diagnosis clients. New Method Wellness provides the most highly credentialed treatment in a safe and welcome environment. Call New Method Wellness for your free consultation and ask about our national accreditations. Together, we can put the pieces back together.
Now, you can vibrationally align your aura. You can gain a larger and spiritual perspective on life, relationships, God, people, wellness, and money. You can also have moments of meditation and reflection any time of the day. And reading the thrilling, adventurous, and mystical story of Shiga will just add more faith to your daily experience of the mystery of the universe. As human beings, we are meant to thrive in an environment where true love is shared, where we are welcome just as we are, a space we connect with others with the single purpose to find God as love within, a place we learn to raise our consciousness and vibration for happiness, wellness, and wealth creation. Transformative, an online spiritual gathering for everyone. This invitation is sent to you by www.livingfaithschool.org.
Hi, everyone. Welcome back. If you're just joining us now, my name is Julianne Meyer, and I am the host of Own Your Wellness. And today, I've got a living, breathing goddess with me, and her name is Ashley Holt. Let's bring her back. Hi, Miss Ashley.
Hi, goddess.
So glad to have you back. So I was thinking about questions during the commercial, and I really think I would love to touch on the aspect of you addressing youth, young women, and helping them through, these. I mean, just in general, it's such a hard time with the hormones and everything else. Not to mention just, I don't know, environment, you name it. And then lately with COVID, there's been so many different extra things on top of just growing up that I can't even imagine, like growing up in COVID times. It'd be so bizarre to be like homeschooled and things like that. But what are some things that maybe parents can do as well to help their young ladies?
Yes, that's a great question. First off, again, positive affirmations are huge. So how do you have that conversation with your daughter? And I would sit down with them and just say, I call this the goddess wheel of life, but you can, for a teen world, kind of narrow that down into 6 main areas that might be important to them. So friends, grades, sports or athletics or extracurricular activities. Their dreams and goals and ambitions. Maybe they're trying to apply to college, like whatever those things might be for them. And get them to rank that 1 to 10. 10 meaning I'm so happy in this area of life. 1 meaning I'm not happy. And if you're, it might be home life, or, if you're divorced, dad's house versus mom's house. Like you can dive into unique scenarios for each child. But you got to take a snapshot of what's making them happy and what's making them not. And when you really look at that and you look at those scores, look at those bottom 3, and then you say, what is the story here? Why are you not happy? 1, because it's fine. Maybe they're not happy, but most likely they're telling themselves something that's not true at a very young age. Maybe I'm not good enough. I'm ugly. I'm dumb. I think I'm stupid, whatever. I'm not athletic enough. I can't try out for that. Whatever it is, they're telling themselves a story. And, I've had to do this with my own children, and I make them write out the lies, and then we burn it and we flush it down the toilet. I mean, and that might be like, some people are like, that's a hazard. Ashley, people are going to see you for telling, someone might burn down their house. And I'm like, well, you're going to. But it's true. But it's the most powerful thing I've ever done with my kids, to sit them down and to get a snapshot of their life from their perspective and let them tell you what are their, I call them SLBs, the self-limiting beliefs. Yes. And, again, I didn't learn this till I was so old. And if someone had just come to me, if my mom had come to me and said, no, that's a lie, we're burning it, and that's going down the toilet right now, I'd have been like, all right. She's got my back and she's right. Right? They just need a voice to be like, nope, that's not the truth. This is. So you burn the lies and then you rewrite the script. So what is the script? I'm not athletic enough. I'll be cut from the team, whatever it is. And then they start saying those affirmations that I am, I am athletic. I am competent to make this team. I'm going to practice every day. I'm growing and learning and expanding. I can do anything I set my mind to. Whatever it is, just flip the script and then you monitor that they're saying it. You put it on the mirror. Yeah. You put it on the front door. You put it in the car. And, actually when they were little, we did an affirmation. This is for young kids, but we did an affirmation song that we would listen to on the way to school. So, if you have kids under, like 8 and under, one to listen to on the way to school. It's like, I'm smart. I'm going to have an amazing day. I can do anything I want. I'm loved. I am valued. It's awesome. Like, kids need that because academics are important, right? Like math, English, history, all these things are important. But why, to me, I was always made straight A's. But guess what I needed? I needed someone breathing self-worth and confidence into me. And what if schools for just 30 minutes had something on confidence and self-worth and value? Because we don't know the backstory behind these kids when they go to school.
No.
They might show up with a bright smile because they are so happy to be away from a toxic situation at home. So we think everything's fine, but we don't know what they're going home to. So
and a lot of times as adults, we're not as observant as we think we are. We're so caught up in our own stuff that we don't necessarily see, and we don't want to, because then that means that person's hurting,
Well, hey, and I'm trial by error here. I learned this as the single divorced mom that was working 80 hours a week and exhausted and tired and stressed and crying and be like, am I enough? I'm a failure. I'm horrible. But, so while I was learning it, I was checking in with my kids. I was learning it and then testing it with them too. Like, where are you at? And so they were my biggest teachers in this.
Yeah.
And, when you hear your child and they have them, like you can put your blindfold on, but they have these lies they are telling themselves. And mine are siblings, and they had things between their own. Like, my sister hates me and she doesn't like me and she doesn't want to be my friend. But guess what? Even thinking my sister doesn't want to be my friend, that's going to carry with them until they're, much later in life if they don't fix it now.
Exactly. Something that I really want to expand on and really accentuate is the fact that you did this with your kids. And I would think that as a grown woman, that would be a good way to bond as well. You don't have to know everything.
No, yeah. Yeah, disclaimer, they didn't know everything about me and my brain, but I was checking in with them on because I was having flashbacks of I was going through this journey and remembering all these things were coming up for me as a child and as a teenager and as middle school. Let me hear what they're going to say, and let me fix this now so they don't have to do it in 20 years, because it only gets worse if you wait 20 more years, right?
Exactly, because those neural pathways that we're talking about, they just get deeper and deeper and deeper. So
rewire that now instead of
Exactly. So I just want to pop up again how people can find you on YouTube and what kind of stuff. I mean, because I know we talked briefly about this, but I know that you have a companion to your book on here. So would you mind sharing a little bit more about that?
Yes, I would love to, because when I was going through a divorce and a single mom, guess what? I didn't have money for workshops. I didn't have money for empowerment coaches. I barely had money to get just food on the table. So, the book is great. It's $10. But even if you can't do that, I have an interactive video for each chapter, because most importantly, and through my coaching, what is the common denominator is the loneliness and the unsupport that women feel when they're going through these kind of things. So, how about a face? How about a voice? How about, just some sort of person you can talk to that you can just look at and be like, okay, I'm okay. So each chapter has an interactive video. And then there's also the 5-minute guided meditation. That's free, because you know what? It's okay if you don't have the financial resources right now, but you will, because we're going to change your mindset and you're going to be a goddess, bringing in all the things you need to bring in.
I love that you talk a little bit about the finances, because that's another taboo subject. But, we're supposed to live in, what's wrong with opulence? When did it have to be I don't know, you're a bad person or something if you want to have things. But money is just energy, and it represents freedom and life experiences, and being able to travel with your kids if you have them, or just being able to be your best self so you can show up for somebody else. I mean,
yes. I mean, you said it right there, because again, I'm a Southern woman, and the worst thing you can call a Southern woman is selfish. And so for me, what I learned was self-love, and everyone's like, well, self-love, selfish. And so I've had to change this whole paradigm to self-love is not selfish. We're going to just eradicate that and say self-love is honor. Because guess what? If you honor who you are and the gift that you are here to bring into the world, when you honor the space and the time that you need to become who you're supposed to be, everyone else in your life benefits. You become a better mom. You become a better spouse. You become a better, boss or employee or whatever it is you're doing. But if you don't honor who you are, you never discover who you are.
Oh, that is so well said. Oh my goodness. I love that so much. And, a lot of people think of self-care too as getting your nails done and your makeup and hair done. And well, first of all, my hair is not, that is a necessity. I don't care what anybody else says, but self-care is going to bed when you said you were going to. Self-care is eating vegetables instead of ice cream. Self-care, it shows up in so many different ways. That's not self-indulgent, but it is showing yourself how much you love you. Because, if you don't have it for you, you don't have it to give away.
Yep.
So I love. So what would you say has been one of your biggest aha moments through your journey?
So you actually had the perfect segue, because I get asked so many times, like, Ashley, what is self-love? Like, what does that mean? Like you said, is it getting my nails done? Does it mean taking a bath? Do I get to go to the spa? No. And so that big aha moment for me is when I threw that book in the trash, the Shatterproof, and I said, no. You know what this was about? The aha moment was self-love. And so what did that look like for me? And it was all these steps I put together. So I don't know if this is going to ruin it for everybody, but here's what self-love is. And here's the aha moment, women and goddesses and men, all of you. Like, you got to get outside your comfort zone. And that's G. You got to get outside your comfort zone. And it's not going to be easy. You're going to lose people. You might lose things. You're going to outgrow them. But you should not be wearing clothes you wore when you're 10 years old, right? Like, you outgrow your clothes. You got to outgrow, sometimes you outgrow your life too. Or where you are currently. You got to overcome negative self-talk. That's the O, because we have this voice inside and we are a magnet attracting whatever our thoughts are. We are bringing something into our life 24 hours, 7 days a week. Yeah. So guess what? How do we make that work for us instead of against us? And until you become self-aware of what you're truly attracting, you're attracting the wrong things. So that's O, and that's probably the biggest chapter of the book. But then D is dare to dream big, because women and goddesses, we have forgotten how to dream again. Because when we were children, we were running around with these magical imaginations, and it was fun, and we were happy. So when was the last time we sat down and had fun and been happy with what we imagined? Because those imaginations are our soul speaking to us and saying, hey, give me some power here. I'm on your side, right? So, like, how do we connect to that? And then the other D is declare your desires to the universe. Because if you don't know what you want, the universe can't deliver that to you. So you better be really clear. Otherwise, you're bringing in all the wrong things. So how do we do that? That's in there. And then I know we're running out of time, but easy.
Oh, no, we still have a few minutes. It's okay. We're good.
You got to expect miracles, because what do? We expect the worst things to happen. Oh, what if I fail? What if I'm not enough? What if I can't do it? What if I run out of this? Blah, blah, blah. But what if all the great things could happen? So how do we connect to the what ifs that work for us? And then that S is stand in your truth, because once you've gotten out of your comfort zone, once you've overcome negative self-talk, once you've dared to dream again and start declaring this to the universe, once you start expecting miracles, it's so much easier to stand in your truth and to be confident about it. And that's really the key. And then the last S is surrender to self-love. So when people say, what is self-love, Ashley? It's all of that. And that's what I had to learn. And that's why I had to turn it into the bigger message instead of the pain and being stuck in the pain and the trauma and all the things, which I'm an open book about. I don't have a problem talking about them. It was just a bigger message that needed to be shared.
No, I mean, yes. But what I'm going to say is now you're solution oriented as opposed to.
Right? Like I couldn't focus on all the things. I was like, well, this is it.
Like, how can we change how things are? Because, even like you said, you got to ask for what you want. And it's kind of like going to a restaurant. You ask for what you want. You don't just expect it to be brought to you and be like, oh, well, whatever you think. I mean,
right. Oh yeah, whatever you want, just bring it to me. You say this is what I want, and then it comes. But guess what? I love that you said that, because I use that with pizza a lot, because we order pizza, right? And we just know the pizza's coming. We order our pizza and it's delivered. We don't drive to the pizza place, get over their shoulder, make sure they're making it all right. Is it enough sauce? Is it the right cheese? Did you put the right top? Let me drive with you to deliver my own pizza. Go. Look up.
Yes.
Surrender, be intentional about it, declare it, and then let it
go. Yes. I think that's been the hardest part for me in the past, was the letting it go, just setting it free.
It is. It's so hard.
Something else too that I keep thinking about that I feel like I should clarify my stance on it is that there is nothing wrong with getting facials and your nails done or buying that Tesla if that's what you want. There's nothing wrong with wanting things, because actually, if you think about things in a spiritual way, you can actually grow into that person who can afford those things. Like, you're spiritually growing. So there's nothing wrong with wanting whatever. You just have to want it.
Yes, absolutely. Like, and if that, it's all about what do you want? What do you desire? Because you can manifest that which you desire. So if you desire that, go for it. Like part of the meditation is like your dreams are your destiny. Surrender to your greatness. So if that's what you want, but are you just clear on what you want and how to get there and how do you do that? And
well, then also too, is it what you want or what you were told you want? So
right. You got to figure that out. What do you really want, and why do you really want the things you think you want, or do you really want them? And just like go deeper. Like always, just go deeper.
So there's a question that I like to ask some of my favorite guests, and you happen to be one of them. So I'm curious what your morning looks like. Do you have your goddess routine that you do? Like, what does that look like?
Oh my goodness. The morning is the most important part of the day. So I get up. I actually get up really early because I teach English as a second language to children in China as well. So I'm up early, but as soon as I'm done teaching, I write down my intention for the day. So every day I have a journal and it says my dominant intention today is, and it's not goal oriented, it's more feeling oriented. So for example, my dominant intention today is just to stay focused on Ashley's dreams and goals. Or, I even do each chapter has an intention. So this is one of my, if you have never done intentions before, you're like, what is she talking about? Use this one. I am open to receive guidance, strength, and courage to step into my life's highest purpose. If you just say that every day, guess what? You are opening the doors to miracles in the universe to put you exactly where you need to be. I am open to receive guidance, strength, and courage to step into my life's highest purpose. So just be aware that that's what you want and that you might need some courage. You might need some guidance. You might need strength, but it will be delivered to you.
This is like, thank you. That was so beautiful. And this is something that's probably for another show, but I want to touch on it a little bit. And that is that you talked about, it's not a goal, but it's like the feeling, the emotion behind it. And if you can pick that out, you can have a little bit of what you're looking for in the future right now. And it doesn't have to come exactly in the same form, but that way you're not waiting. You're not waiting to live. You can have it right now. You can create that right now. Like for me, for example, this morning I trained somebody that lives on the beach. So right after I was training them, I should say, there's two clients, I just walked down to the beach and I was there and I felt that sense of freedom that I want. So maybe I'm not where I'd love to be financially yet, but I felt that sense of freedom that money can bring. So I already have that. I don't have to wait.
Yeah, but you said that is exactly right. One, because you said receive, and women have a hard time receiving. And so when you just open yourself up to receive, guess what? When things happen that just in that day, if someone just says, hey, you look nice today, or whatever miracle might come into your life, you're just open to receive it so much more than being blocked off. And, it's different than a goal, because I don't want to say hate, but some people get so stuck and I want to make this amount of money.
Yeah.
And they could have made 50% more than they did the last year, but because it wasn't this certain amount, they feel failure. And so then they're attached to a lack mindset or this failure mindset when they were gaining, they were growing. Exactly. And instead of being in the energy of I'm growing, I expanded and I did well and I was receiving more than I ever had, they're stuck in I'm a failure. I didn't do it. I'm not enough. I'm not good enough.
No, I love that. And, something that you said about women not being good at receiving. And a lot of women are probably like, oh, I'm fine. Or they don't understand what we're talking about. When was the last time somebody gave you a compliment on, say, your dress, and you just said, thank you?
Right. Like, it was on sale. It was on sale.
Exactly. Like, I didn't ask you how much you paid for it. I'm just telling you it looks beautiful.
This whole thing, I've had it forever. We just want to say thank you so much.
Exactly. I mean, it's such a little thing, but it's a huge thing, because if you can't be, as far as the universe is concerned, if you can't be trusted with the little things and the little compliments, how are you going to be able to receive anything bigger?
I love this one. I know we are like so much out of time, but
we still have
sorries and the thank you. Yeah. So I would love for just people to take this as a quick takeaway, because how many times do we say, oh, like if we're late,
Mm-hmm.
Maybe we're just I'm so sorry I'm late. But what if we said, thank you so much for waiting for me?
Exactly.
But we are so stuck, or we are in the South.
Mm-hmm.
I'm so sorry. I'm sorry. No, that's the wrong energy being. Just like being the energy. Thank you for waiting on me. Thank you for this. Thank
Yeah.
you. Like flip the script a little bit and it changes everything.
It's a lot more powerful, that's for sure. That is a lot more powerful. And you're still acknowledging the fact that you were late. So it's not like, you're not owning it. You still are.
I guess it's so important because I was such I'm unlovable and I'm unworthy. So I was constantly apologizing. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. And it was coming from a place of unworthiness. Like, no one's going to want to wait on me.
Mm-hmm.
Or, I'm not worthy of being someone waiting 2 minutes because I was stuck in traffic because I had 2 kids that I had to get to, so I'd be, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Mm-hmm. And it was instead, no, like, just thank you. Thank you. Thank you for your patience. Thank you.
So we do have about 3 minutes left. So I'm just curious, you've already dropped a lot of knowledge bombs and truth bombs and like goddess bombs, I guess we could call them. But what would be something else that you would love for people to walk away with knowing, maybe from your book?
There's so many. It's filled with goddess secrets, but I love this one because Jim Rohn has a quote and it says, you become the people you surround yourself with, or something like that. And so you've got to be aware of the 5 people around you in your life. So I always just love to do a quiz and think about the 5 people you spend the most time with. Mm-hmm. And then you rank them 1 to 5. And 1 being they're so negative, they bring you down, they steal your energy. And 5 being they are a great mentor, like that coach that believes in you. Mm-hmm. And this is so important to me because when I did this for the first time in my life, my score is probably a 1. And I did it a year later and it was a 5. And my life had completely and radically changed. And going back to the first step of the goddess mindset, that's get outside your comfort zone, because sometimes you have to change the people around you. But you have the power to seek out people who breathe life in you. You are worthy of people breathing in life to you. You are worthy of finding that circle of people who see you and want to hear you and know you have a gift and have a magic ability to bring it out in you. So whatever it takes to connect to that, do that. And because the people around us play a huge part in how we live our daily life.
Now that's beautiful because, touching on the fact that women tend to feel lonely, especially when they're going through things, it can be really hard to let go of those few people that you have, because it's like,
you know that they're negative, and that you don't even have fun when you're around them. And then sometimes
they're there.
It can be from like the coaching sessions, and sometimes they're like, Ashley, I don't have 5 friends.
Yeah. Well, exactly. And then that's when you get on YouTube and you find Ashley Holt and you are like, okay, I'm going to spend my time.
Just connect to something. Exactly. And then when you start connecting, the baby steps just will be, the path will
it emerges. It's like that. Was it Martin Luther King who said you only have to take the first step. You don't have to see the whole staircase. Yeah, that's all you have to do. That's it. That's all it takes. But anyway, Miss Ashley, it has been such a pleasure and so much fun talking with you today. And I do hope that you come back because I've just had a blast. So I know our audience has as well.
I hope so. And I love you. I love your energy. I love what you're doing and putting out in the world. So I am honored to have been here today. Thank you so much.
Thank you. So hold on 1 more second. I want to make sure we pop this up one last time so everybody knows that. And then also you're on Instagram as well, right?
Yes, it's Ashley_Holt. But the most valuable things will be on YouTube. Ashley Holt, author, speaker, empowerment coach.
I love it. All right. Well, that is all the time we have today. So thank you so much, Ashley, for joining us. I really appreciate you being here today.
Thank you.
Oh, I don't even want to end that conversation. My goodness, that I just feel pumped up and excited. And now I just want to go out and goddess all over the place. But that is all the time that we have for today. So I want to say thank you for watching, and we will see you next week.